Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You are now listening to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe. Thank you for joining us as we talk about the movies of yesteryear. You can reach us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter by searching for Backlook Cinema. Check our show notes for more info, and now, let's get it in.
Hi, this is Zach.
And this is Zoe, and welcome to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe. And this is the 18th episode of this here podcast. And the reason that we started this show was to strengthen the bond between I, Zoe, and my son, Zach. And we watch movies together, movies that I loved when I was growing up, in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, the movies of yesteryear, if you will. And I shared them with my son to strengthen that bonding. And what movie did we watch this time?
Lean on Me.
Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman. We just finished watching that. And this movie is a part of our celebration of Black excellence and Black History Month. And so even though today is actually March 1st, and you'll be hearing this broadcast on, I don't know, March 7th, something like that, or 8th, or after it'll be broadcast, or it'll be released this coming Saturday. So you're going to get an extra dose of Black History Month.
I mean, school does that anyway. They do it for like 3 months or so.
Right. You know, and I like to think that Black History Month is all year. It's just that in February, we kind of just focus on it. We kind of do like a laser focus on the achievements of Black people and the things that happen in Black history. That's how I like to think of it. But throughout the year, it's not like, African Americans are only done stuff in February. It's done. It's all year long. So, go ahead and give them some more information.
So yeah, you can get t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, face masks, and a bunch of other items at our website, backlookcinema.com.
Also at backlookcinema.com, you can leave us direct feedback, comments, suggestions, etc. We have a new email address. It's been new for quite some time now. It's fanmail at backlookcinema.com.
And please, if you like our show, then rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast app that you might be using.
Yes, 5-star rating would be useful on Apple Podcasts. But if you don't like Apple Podcasts for whatever reason, we are available almost everywhere. So, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, come on now. You had to have done something.
I mean, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts. Does that make anything better?
Playing what?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I bought the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one, which was for sale. Was on sale for, I believe, $30, $40, $50.
So,
and the actual,
wait a minute, $30, $50. That's a huge price range.
Oh, you want to know why it's a huge? Is a huge discount? Because without the discount, guess how much it is?
What is it?
It's basically $100 because you're getting all the Kingdom Hearts games. I mean, not everyone, but the ones that was released on console, handheld, all will be there.
Oh, okay. Well,
remixed.
Awesome. Does it have DLC included too?
Yeah, I believe it does.
Oh, okay. Well,
it wouldn't be, a remastered if it wasn't like that.
Right. So, I'm trying to think. What was it? So you said Kingdom Hearts. So you got it for PlayStation 4, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you said, but you don't know if it's $30 or $50.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the deal was over. And the actual thing is $100.
My thing is that you're just spending money. You don't care how much it is.
I mean, it was on for sale, so that was the good part. I wasn't paying $100 for it.
It's for sale. Woohoo! How much is it? I don't care.
Better than paying $100.
As long as it's not $100. So which ones have you played already? You say you played 2?
Well, yeah, I played 2. Didn't beat it because I didn't know where to go, but I did beat 3. Okay. So I just have to. I did play. What was it? 365 days over 2. That was on DS. Didn't beat it because didn't know where to go.
Right.
Because again, it's complicated, and they don't really want to hold your hands.
So now you get to revisit it.
Yeah,
and,
but my plan.
Stuck, you can go on the internet.
Yeah, but my plan is to only play 1 and 2 because all the others are just filter to let you know what the heck is going on and who the characters are.
Right. Yeah, I hear that the storyline is complicated.
It is very complicated. I also been playing the new zombies that COD has. So basically, for the new zombies, they have you in Warzone. and it's basically 3 different maps for it. And to get to that next map, you have to do the main mission, which is only one, and then go to the next level, which basically raises the difficulty in the zombies.
Right.
So
I've heard people talk about that one.
No, it's fun.
Right.
It can be stressful. It is better to play with friends because if you're playing with a bunch of randoms, something bad will happen.
Right.
Mainly, failure.
Right. I've tried to play games online. I'm not particularly good at it. You heard me screaming last night about playing Mortal Kombat, and it's like you really know how bad you are at Mortal Kombat when you're playing online with other people. I was like, oh man, I should have beat that guy.
That or you had lag or whatever.
There was only a lag in some of the games, or there was like stutter. But most of the games they played more or less smoothly. I'm just not good at them. So there's that. But what you call it? What else you been up to? Have you read anything?
I got into an argument about Legend of Zelda, and I had to go buy the book to prove my point. Because someone wanted to say that Ganondorf pledged his loyalty to the kingdom for his own land, and I was like, no, Ganon legit played his legacy to the king just so he can get what he wanted, which was the rest of the Triforce, because he already had power. He just needed the wisdom and courage.
Right.
That's all he wanted. He didn't care about his people. He really didn't. This is Ganondorf. He doesn't care.
So you went and bought a book about the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, because the guy talking about
to win an argument on the internet.
Yeah, because the guy talked about
he was going hardcore, huh?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna let some random theory completely overthrow what I know from what I played.
Right.
And he's talking about, oh yeah, I got the information from this book. When I was like, this man made up a theory from what he read in this book. And that's not what he's saying isn't even true.
Right.
I'm like, what's wrong with you?
The Legend of Zelda is rather convoluted anyway.
I've never
tried to understand that story.
It is a little bit, but when they put it together, it made a little sense. The only issue is that no one knows where Breath of the Wild fits in.
Right.
And the main reason is because the two species never really been together in one game, and that is the Rutos and Joras.
Right.
They're basically the fish people and the birds. They've never been in one game together like that.
Right.
So this will be the first.
I just played a game and I was like, oh, okay, I beat the bad guy. I'm done with this one. Let me go into the next one. Just like a lot of games that are serialized don't make a whole lot of sense because there's no natural progression. I guess it might make sense to Zelda, but if you play, I'm trying to think of it, Metroid, for example, and when you first start off with Metroid, Samus Aran doesn't have a whole bunch of powers, so that just a laser blast, just basic armor, and then as you progress in the game, you get
you get all that. Next game. I still have all this. Next
zero.
It's either A, you still have all your stuff, or B, they just downgrade you because something happened.
Right. Either you
why?
start off at nothing or they blast you and you start off at nothing. So it's like...
It's like, hey, remember how you was overpowered in the first game? Nerfing.
Right. So no... the story... I'm not playing the game. I appreciate a decent story, especially if there's some kind of progression to the next game, or if it's a story that's meant to be played in several different parts. But a lot of times in the games that I run to, especially the older games, it's like you don't ever get nothing like that. It's more like they never expected the game to be popular, or they never thought about making a sequel. So now they got a sequel. It's like now we got to figure out how the sequel fits in.
Well, when it comes to Legend, the only thing that people would see as an actual sequel is from the first Legend of Zelda game to the second one, and Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask.
Right.
But since when they want to put it together, it's like, okay, Skyward Sword is first, and then it goes down to the handheld games they had, two of them or one of them.
Right.
Then it goes down into, I believe, Ocarina of Time, which leads into Majora's Mask that splits. No, actually, Ocarina of Time, then it splits off into 3 different variations because of the theories that happen, saying, if he stayed, then this has happened. But if he left as a kid, then this happened. But then also, if he failed as an adult, this happens.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that does work. But again, Breath of the Wild, where does that go? Please.
So you borrow Majora's Mask. So did you finish it?
No, I didn't finish it. I still got to go through a whole bunch of stuff because I want to get the main mask.
Right.
And that's a pain.
Oh, well, have fun with that. Excuse me. so at least you tried to read something. You got some reading in.
Yeah.
Did you read the whole book? You just read the part that validated your argument?
I didn't read the main part that validated my argument.
Well, you need to go ahead and read the whole book. You got the whole book anyway. Might as well read the whole. Get up on the reading skills.
Uh-huh.
And so what else? You were watching anything?
No, not really.
Well, you watched Tom and Jerry.
I mean, yeah, there was that. But again, it was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah, it has a funny part.
That slapstick is there.
It was pretty. It was mindful of the legacy of Tom and Jerry, and it actually reminded me of the cartoon. They used a lot of the same gags as the cartoon did.
Oh yeah, the very beginning, Jerry's looking at his hand, trying to hide something, and Tom's like, "What are you looking at?"
Right.
He's like, "Oh, you want to peek?" And then I'm like, "Tom, you've been through that same thing over and over. Why?"
Or Tom beating the knot out of the bulldog's head.
Oh yeah, it's like, I'm sorry about this knot.
That's an old gag that they use all the time. Or maybe they only used it once, but
they use it a couple of times. When he has a bump on his head, he tries to fix it.
Right, but see, the interesting thing about this movie is that in the cartoons, Tom is usually harassing and chasing Jerry because cats chase mice. That's just the nature of their relationship. So either he's trying to chase and eat Jerry because he wants to eat Jerry, or he's chasing him just because it's his job as a house cat to get rid of mice. I
mean, sometimes he is just relaxing, minding his own business, and Jerry comes along to ruin that.
Right. That's what it was in this movie. And I meant to mention at the top of the podcast, there may be some foul language. I mean, normally I try to stay away from using too much foul language, but in this one, there's going to be a bunch of foul language. I'm gonna let loose in the booth. But anyway, I only said that so I could say Jerry's a massive asshole in this movie. I mean, just Tom is minding his own business. I have never seen Tom mind his own business as much as he ever minded his own business.
He's just trying to get money by conning people. He's just trying
to be successful. He wants to be a pianist for John Legend or like John Legend. And Jerry just comes and messes it all up. So Tom and Jerry is available on HBO Max and I believe in theaters. Check that out. It's actually kind of fun.
Now, here's the funny part. I love how nowhere on the sign that Tom is playing the piano that he was blind. It just says the amazing cat.
Right.
And the girl goes like, "Hey, he's not blind," but it never said he was.
Right, but he's wearing sunglasses.
I mean, he's wearing sunglasses, but I don't think he's trying to say he's blind.
Yeah, so it appears that he's blind, but it's like they're mad at Tom because he's not a blind cat playing a piano. Like it's not enough for him to be a cat playing a piano. Yes.
And again, Jerry just comes up like, "Oh wait, he's playing for him." Like, I want to get some money too. I'm gonna put on my own sign, put a can, and be like, "Hey, look at this dancing mouse."
Right. And then Jerry busts up his synthesizer. It's sad. It's a sad scene, but it was pretty good. And the chick that was in that movie, I forgot what her name, Chloe something. She got 3 names, and it's actually 2 names, but her last name was hyphenated, and the only name that I know how to pronounce is her first name, which is Chloe. But you might recognize her from the movie Kick-Ass. You remember that movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait. I know I've seen it, but I just don't know. Let me guess. She was that girl.
That girl that did what?
She was a sidekick to her father, basically.
Yeah, that is correct. You got it right.
I had to think about it since you said kick. I was like, could it be?
Right.
It had to be her because that's the only one I can think of.
That is the exact girl. She played a sidekick to her father, which was basically a Batman type of a hero. And also in that movie was the 2 guys that played Quicksilver, like both of them. So the one that played Quicksilver in the Marvel movie was the guy that played Kick-Ass. And the one that plays Quicksilver in the X-Men movie was the one that played his best friend, who I think he puts on a costume in Kick-Ass too. I can't remember. But I think it's like the first dude he told that he was a superhero. So she's really good in the movie. I imagine it's kind of hard to act in front of nothing. And then there's also Michael Pena, and he was funny in this movie also. He was the guy in Ant-Man that did all the explaining.
Yeah, I remember him.
Michael Pena. So he was funny. So anyways, where do we go from here? I guess I'm supposed to talk about the movie itself. We got to get off Oh, I didn't talk about what I did.
Exactly.
Yeah, let me go and talk. Yeah, I watched Tom and Jerry too in solidarity with the boy, and also he's 24 years old, 24, 25,
24.
24 years old, and I'm still calling him the boy. So yeah, I did that. I played some Mortal Kombat and lost horribly. I got back into what was that game I played? Outer Worlds.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that it's I've come across where there's like it kind of splits off into 3 storylines, and the game has a progression where it shows all the missions you've done and the ones you succeeded in and the ones that you botched. And so there's one mission where you can kill a bunch of innocent people, and that would show that, and you can complete that mission by killing a bunch of innocent people. And then there's another storyline, or kind of like 2 other storylines, but they're sort of the same, where you refuse to kill those innocent people, and you either kill everybody in the that works for this corporation, the corporation that hired you to kill these innocent people, or you just don't go back and talk to whoever sent you on the mission in the first place. So if you do any of those things, you're going to botch some aspect of that particular mission. So I was like, well, I don't want my character to go around killing innocent people. So I'm just, it's a storyline. Because I wasn't going to do it anyway, but I decided to go back and see what those storylines looked like and see if what would happen if I tried not to botch it or if I botched it on purpose. And I was like, well, I'm going to botch that one mission because I don't want to kill innocent people. I don't want my character to be like that. And then I think that's all I play. And then I watched some shows like Equalizer, Equalizer with Queen Latifah, which is okay. I don't know how long I'm gonna stick with it. It's not. It's just so standard. It's a standard show, and life is too short to be watching standard shows. And WandaVision, which is awesome. The joint is almost over, and I'm excited about what the conclusion is going to be. The next Friday is going to be the I think it's the final episode, and I'm really excited about what they're going to do, how it's all going to turn out. So I haven't read any books in a while either. Most of my books are in audiobooks anyway. But no, I started reading the Immortal Hulk. That's an excellent comic. And I think there was another one I was looking for. I have a Marvel, Marvel something, Marvel Unlimited, where they have a bunch of Marvel comics available online, but they don't have the Ultimates yet. There's a new version of the Ultimates with Monica Rambeau. Can't find it. Not gonna worry about it. So, so that's all. And working. So that's all I've been doing, and drawing some pictures. I'm sure people listening to the show been seeing my pictures. How you like my pictures?
Yeah, they're very nice.
I'm glad you like them. So still working. Still, I got to get up to snuff. I got to practice to get back, or to improve, to get to where I want to be. Because a lot of these pictures I'm drawing, they're not turning out how I like. So the only thing I got is practice. That's all that's going on. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Lean on Me.
The dedication by tyrannical Joe Clark is appointed the principal of the Kane Inner City School. He is determined to improve by any and all means.
Any and all means. And I think you meant the dedicated.
Yeah, dedicated.
But tyrannical Joe Clark. I know, tyrannical is kind of, that word is kind of out there. Do you know what tyrannical means?
No. But I can only guess it relates to the word tyrant.
Yeah, there you go. You got some smarts. That is correct. Do you know what a tyrant is?
I heard it. I just can't relate on it.
Huh?
I know what it. I just can't relate on it. I can't remember what it means.
Oh, you've heard the word, but you can't remember what it means.
I want to say like someone that that uses their powers, just abuse their powers as they can.
Not necessarily. A tyrant is an all-powerful ruler. Okay. So if you have all power, then you can't abuse what power you have because you're all-powerful. So a tyrant is like a king or an emperor or somebody like that who has all power. Yeah. So So that's how people felt about how he led this high school. They felt that he ruled it like a tyrant, and they're not half wrong. This movie was released on March 3rd, 1989 by Warner Brothers. It grossed over $31 million worldwide on a $10 million budget. And people basically had a generally good attitude about it. So that's pretty good. It made twice its budget back. That's a very good return on a movie. That's what studios like to see, some kind of return. So this movie stars Morgan Freeman as Principal Joe Clark. You've seen him in As Olympus Has Fallen, Seven, Deep Impact, and Bruce Almighty. And I know you're looking at Seven as like, that's not how you spell Seven. That's how they spelled it in the movie.
I can already figure that
out. So, Seven is impactful. That's definitely going on the list. A lot of Morgan Freeman's movies are impactful. He's appeared in a bunch of movies. I only like a thin sliver of some of the things that he did in his lifetime. But he's like the go-to guy when you want a leader or somebody who's in a leading position.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So, and it's like I enjoy him when I see him on screen. He was also in the Electric Company, which is where I first seen him, even though I never remember him as I was a child when Electric Company was on. It was one of my favorite child shows that appeared on PBS. It was 3-2-1 Contact, which is more of a science show, and the Electric Company. And Sesame Street was a guilty pleasure. I still watch Sesame Street, though it's a guilty pleasure when you're like a tween. But I definitely preferred the Electric Company over Sesame Street. So also, Robert Guillaume. I know you're looking at that name. He was like, what? It's Guillaume. That's how you say it. It's French. And he plays Dr. Frank Napier, which I suspect is also a French name. He acts mainly on television. He's a television actor, and the producer or the director or whoever, somebody grabbed him in from television to put him in his movie because apparently he would rather not do movies. But he got his, most people know him, the old heads. And when I say old heads, I mean even older than me. But I remember seeing him in Soap, and then spinoff from Soap, there was Benson. He was also in Timon and Pumbaa as Rakifi in the series that they had. There's also Beverly Todd as Miss Levias. I want to say Miss Levias. I can't remember how they pronounced it in the movie. That was the vice principal. Lynn Thigpen, she played Leona Barrett, and she was in The Warriors, Bicentennial Man, and Anchor Management. Any guesses? Can you remember who Lynn
I can only guess she was the one that wanted Clark out of the school.
Right. She was the adversarial woman who wanted Clark out because her son got kicked out of school. So she's trying to get back at Joe Clark. And she's always playing that type of character. It's either an authority figure or an adversarial figure every time you see Thigpen. I mean, yeah, that's her name. So anyways, Jerome Hopkins. You remember that name?
Yeah, he was Sam's.
Right, Thomas Sands, but you remember where else he played?
No, not really. I'm trying to think. I just can't remember.
He was Steele in Juice.
Oh, Steele, okay.
Right. Remember Steele, who got shot. He got up anyway. It was Steele who was harassed by the police department.
I want to say, yeah, he has more weight. Like, when I looked at it, I was like, his skin color is a little bit different because I noticed he has some patches on his face. I was like,
I think the patch is like some vitiligo.
Yeah, because that's why I didn't recognize him all the way. Then when he was crying, I was like, oh, wait.
Right. He got that same cry. But I think he probably had better makeup on Juice because vitiligo just doesn't go away. And he's also, I think he's older when he made Juice. Karen Malina White, she played Kanisha Carter. That was the little girl who was who Joe Clark knew
in 5th grade,
in the beginning of the assembly. Michael Beach played Mr. Darnell. That was the teacher that flipped over Joe Clark's table.
Yep.
Ethan Phillips he's been in a lot of movies. He's a great character actor, but a lot of people remember him from Star Trek Voyager. And he played the alien Neelix. In this movie, he plays Mr. Rosenberg. And oh, did I have Jerome Hop? Yeah, I had him twice for some reason. But what you call it? It was directed by John G. Avildsen, and he's directed some great movies. He directed Rocky Five, and all the Karate Kid movies. That'll be Karate Kid 1, Karate Kid 2, and Karate Kid 3.
I'm gonna say, what about the remake?
No, I don't think it had anything to do with the remake.
Because I don't think you should say all. You just put all the numbers there then.
That's what I did.
No, you just put
all the numbers. I said 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but you have it written as all, so you know.
It might as well be all the original ones. How about that?
The story was written by Michael Cipher.
Let's say Schiffer.
Cipher. He's written Colors, Crimson Tide, The Peacemaker, and the Call of Duty, the game scriptwriter.
Yeah, he did. Those were some great movies back in the day. As a matter of fact, Crimson Tide is definitely on the list. But when Peacemaker came out, I wasn't too hot on Peacemaker, and I didn't really like Colors. So maybe I was too young to understand it. But I am not eager to revisit it. But Ice-T did do a song for that movie, and it goes Colors. So there we go. That's the only thing I remember from that song. The music was by Bill Conti, and he did some work on Rocky, The Karate Kid 2, and The Right Stuff. So he's worked on some great movies. It was the executive producer was same as the director, John G. Avildsen. So that is the breakdown of the movie.
Yes, so we're going to go on a short break, and we'll be right back to talk about our favorite parts of the movie, some movie trivia, and find out what some of the critics' thoughts about the movie.
Hello, fam. This is Alonzo again. No ad today. I just wanted to address something that was been on my mind all week long since I recorded the episode Coming to America. So when we did that, I said something that may have been taken as inappropriate. It could have been taken as insulting. It could be taken as non-inclusive or even considered hate speech. So I wanted to address that. So when me and Zachary were reviewing Coming to America, starring Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy, the one thing that we had mentioned is how the two actors had played multiple characters. And one of the characters that Arsenio Hall played was, let me check my notes, extremely ugly girl. Now, when we came across and started talking about this character, Zachary was saying that he thought that, Arsenio Hall was playing a transgender woman. And I countered with, no, I think that he was playing a natural woman. And then right then and there, I thought that's probably not the right thing to say. So I just wanted to address that. So what is more appropriate is to say that I believe that Arsenio Hall was playing a cisgendered woman, in the same tradition as male comedians taking on female personas, the same way Dana Carvey played a church lady in Saturday Night Live. He was playing a cisgendered woman in the same way that, Jamie Foxx played Wanda as a cisgendered woman. So I just wanted to make that correction. Nobody should have to listen to hate speech, and I apologize for the offensive language. Thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
And we're back. Thank you for sticking with us. So, Zachary, tell the audience what was your favorite parts of this movie.
I would say any part with Clark in it, going off, talking.
That's like the whole movie. You like the whole movie. Here's the thing. There's so many things I don't know where to begin. So the reason I had chosen this movie is because you have a shine for drama. You have a flair for it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. You'll watch a dramatic role. So since you were into Straight Outta Compton, thought you would like this movie.
Yeah.
So all of my choices for any dramatic movie that's like pure drama, I'm drawn from that. So the other thing is that so Morgan Freeman is screaming all the time in this movie.
Oh yeah, he is. He's either screaming or just going off.
Right.
When he was in when the first time he met what was her name? Trying to remember. Looking at the notes. Leona Burnett. Leona,
what did she play?
No. It's Dickpin. That's the character.
That woman.
Yeah.
Right.
When he's talking to her, when he first meet her, he's basically acting like he's a preacher.
Right.
In that meeting. And I'm like, he's talking like he's in church.
Right.
Then.
And even the lady said, this ain't church. And that only egged him on.
He's like, okay, fine. It's not church, so why is it church for me? I'm going to keep going.
Right.
When he runs into Sam's, he takes him to the roof. Right. He's talking about, oh, you like to smoke crack, huh? And why don't you just jump off the roof? I was like, what?
Right. That is extremely impactful. That's the part that a lot of people remember about this movie. Why don't you just jump off right now? Yeah, it's killing your brain cells anyway.
Wow. I was like, okay then. And
you're committing suicide anyway. Why, if you're gonna kill yourself, why not do it expeditiously?
This is stuff big, like wow. And he knows what he's doing.
Right.
He's making it confusing for the audience, but he's making sure that the kid understands that, you're doing something bad. Do you really want to continue down this path? If you are, you might as well just go ahead and jump, because that's what it looks like you're doing since you're not being honest with me.
Right.
Let's see. I would also put in the part where the transition happens from the beginning of the movie to on how it went down here 20 years later.
Right.
Like 20 years ago, this used to be a good place for white kids, a little few blacks, but it's still a good school. 20 years later, number all black, few whites, and all the teachers are scared to even stand up or say anything because they know they're going to get beat.
So, have you ever seen a school like that?
No, not really.
Right. It is like, I can see that the school is bad, but I'm like, I don't know if a school could get that bad.
And then you have, the part where Sam's get thrown in the locker, and, two girls do come and try to help, and they're like, okay, we can't, let's get someone. And you see the custodian just walking past. He doesn't have anything on his head. He just walks past, ignoring the cries.
Sam is screaming for rescue the entire time he's in a locker. There's nobody in the school. The school is almost completely empty, devoid of people, except for this one janitor who's just minding his beeswax. I know that he can hear this kid screaming.
He can hear it. He can hear the banging and screaming. He's like, I got the keys, but
no, it's more like, it's not my job. He would have to break the lock to get him out, but it's like, it's not my job. I'm not. He's like, let somebody else handle that.
When he got all the bad kids up on stage, he's like, all right, you see that? I sing the school song. They're like, school song? I ain't singing no school song. I see that. See? Because they've been here for so long, they're the bad apples. So you know what? They're getting out. They're gone. Vamoose.
Right.
They're back and they're on the streets.
Right. And it's like they mad that they getting kicked out of school. Why is he mad? You ain't want to be there no way.
I was thinking that they've been happy. Like, oh, I'm good. I don't want to be here.
Right.
I'm like, but okay.
What you call it? There was do you even know your school song?
We didn't even have a school song. What are you talking about?
You probably had a school song.
No, we didn't.
And I know that we had a school song.
If we did, I would have tried to, but we don't.
Forestville has a...
Remember, it was a military
Forestville
school.
has been around as long as Sealand High School.
Remember, it turned into a military school. You have to remember that. So they got rid of that school song long ago.
They might have, yeah. But it's like, who knows their school song? Except the kids that had to sing it. Like when the chorus, like if you took chorus in school or you had a music class, then they probably make you learn the school song. But the average student, would not know the school song well enough to sing it on demand. Joe Clark was going around.
Like anytime
right.
a student got in trouble, like, you, come here, sing the school song.
Right.
They just look at him like, what? Come on, all right. You come on, 10 days?
Detention.
Yeah, 10 days in detention. If I ask you to sing again, you don't do it, guess what? That's 10 weeks suspension. I'm like,
Right. Go on.
When he fires the music teacher, the chorus teacher fires her because she's so focused on the concert that she's not caring about the school song.
Right, but at the same time, Joe Clark ain't caring about what she cares about. He's not listening to her. Like, yeah, she cares about making a she's focused on the teaching, right? So
Yep.
she wants to get her students to sound as good as she possibly can, and she's also focused on this concert. But Joe Clark isn't listening to her and is not concerned about what she wants, and at the same time, she's not concerned about him, and she openly disrespects him. But the funny thing is, you can't just fire a teacher like that. So, because teachers have unions and they have, just like it's hard to fire a police officer in the big cities, it's almost impossible to fire a teacher, especially if a teacher's been there for a while. So, later on, he tries to fire the English teacher.
Well, I mean, he put him on suspension.
Right. Well, that's almost the same thing. But you just can't do that. You know what I mean? So it's funny how that's depicted in the movie. What else you got?
I would say that's just about it. Basically,
Right.
him just
So
straight
basically,
up talking.
every time Joe Clark is just screaming at people,
Yeah.
and and you just pointed out some of the highlights of that.
Also, you know what? I'm gonna throw this one in there. When he goes to, I guess it's the second meeting they have, and they already done it, and he goes to see his boss, and he's like, and he loses the argument because he's like, well, if you want people to if you want people to respect you, you got to respect them as well, because you're throwing down these laws, but you got to respect their laws too. And he knows he lost the argument. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't. And then he's like, all right, come on, Clark, let's get something to eat. And he's just like, you think you're all bad, aren't you? I'm like, wow.
Right.
That's how you know their bond is strong.
Right. He was like, he was like, you're so hot on me. He's like, because this is impactful too. That I remember this part from way back when I first saw the movie. Like, this is Robert Young when he's talking to Morgan Freeman. It's like, you're so hot. You're so hot in authority. You want to teach everybody about authority. You're going to listen to me because regardless, he said, contrary to popular belief, I can't even get it out because it's such a joyful line. Contrary to popular belief, I am the head nigger in charge.
Because when he gets to the school, he legit says, "Talking about I am the HNIC." And then one of the guys like, "What does that mean?" The vice president's like, "Oh, that means head nigger in charge."
Right.
I was like, "Wow, okay then."
Right, just told it to his face. Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I can't repeat that."
Right. So, I just wanted to note that the song at the beginning, like after the 20-year jump, and he comes back to East Side as principal. The song that they're playing is "Welcome to the Jungle." This is the first song I heard is by Guns N' Roses, and I was like, "Oh man, this is an awesome song." This song
and the song is very appropriate too. Because,
right.
Again, goes from a nice, neat school to a complete graffiti school with a bunch of kids just walking around doing as they please.
Yeah, just walk around fighting, screaming, graffiti all on every surface except the ceiling. Just all kind of doing drugs, all kind of shenanigans. I also noticed I didn't write this down with the other actors because I only noticed when I started watching the movie is that Tony Todd, he plays Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright was the main security officer.
Yep.
He was so what did he call him? He called him a security not custodian. I forgot. It was a fancy word. But anyway, Tony Todd, do you know who that is?
Not fully.
So he's always I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe his role.
I guess a silent authority figure, you want to say?
No, they hire him for his voice. Like, he didn't really speak in this movie too much. But, like, when you hear him, like, when he has a speaking role, he has a very gravelly voice. So, he was a star of the Candyman. He was the Candyman in that movie. So, that's a black horror movie. He was, I'm trying to think. He was one of the main villains in, trying to think of that movie. Some about breaking out of prison. It was a Nicolas Cage movie where he breaks into Alcatraz. It's called The Rock. So he was one of the main bad guys. He had that, and he was there because he had that wild, gravelly voice. And then a lot of people, sci-fi fans, would know him from he was in Star Trek: The Next Generation, and he played a Klingon. And it's like you don't recognize him because of his face. You hear his voice, and it's like, that's Tony Todd right there. That's my boy Tony Todd with his gravelly, angry-sounding voice. But he's been in a lot of shows. Let's see. I wrote something about that I did write about Mr. Right. So I wrote something here, and it was during the movie, and oh, okay, I know what I wanted to say. So I was going to save this for the trivia, but I'll just put this out there. So this movie is similar to is a movie called Wildcats. Is another movie called Dangerous Minds, and basically this is one of those movies where they take a bunch of ribble rabble or whatever, and they try to straighten them out. So the Wildcats was specifically about. I think she was a coach. Goldie Hawn played a coach trying to whip these kids into shape so they can do whatever sports they're doing. I think they were football players, and I believe that they hired her as a coach of a male football team, and she has to whip these. First, she has to get their respect, and then she has to whip them into shape. And Dangerous Minds is similar to this movie, except it was less intense. I should say, because it wasn't really the entire school that was messed up. I think it was mainly her class, so she had to get these kids into shape. And then it's basically like any basic training movie. There's been a bunch of basic training movies. So any basic training movie where you trying to whip some young men into shape, that follows. That's what this movie it kind of is. So I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of a movie that's like that, but I can't. It's like I can see images in my head, but I can't remember. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You've seen these movies. Officer and a Gentleman. That's like one of them. That's a basic training movie. Top Gun is almost like a basic training movie, except the soldiers are already trained. They just gotta. I mean, the Air Force or the Navy. I can't remember which ones. The Navy pilots are already trained, but they just need better training or whatever. So anyways.
The good part is when all the students, they just all leave school. And I'm like, I kind of felt that happened. I was like, they're all going to leave school, regardless of what he says, talking about get back to class. They're going to march. They're going to walk all the way down there.
Yeah, they walk down to the city
saying,
hall.
Free Mr. Clark.
Right.
And I was like, yep, I called it. And he's the first one to hear it. He's just laying there. He's like, they're here.
Right.
The mayor comes and tells me, hey, can you get these kids to go back home? Because, something will happen if a riot breaks out. And he's like, well, that's not my responsibility right now.
No, he said, all I have to do is stay black.
Oh, yeah, it's talking about stay black and die.
Like, you have to get out there and talk to them. I just have to stay black and die.
and the attitude is basically saying, if I wasn't arrested, this probably wouldn't have happened. But let's see what happens.
So you remember why he got arrested?
Yeah, because he put chains on the emergency doors. But the reason why is because a situation happened where one of the kids that got kicked out came back in, beating up one of the kids.
Right. They were drug dealers, and the drug dealers. Some kids are letting the drug dealers in the school, and the drug dealers are causing problems. So they were former students. They were students in the school, and they got kicked out of school. So they're sneaking back into school because somebody is letting them in through the fire doors, and they're getting into trouble. So one of the drug dealers fought this other drug dealer who was still a student at the school, and so the principal decides to lock all the doors from the inside with chains and padlocks, and that is definitely a problem with. That's definitely against the law.
But the only issue is, again, the reason why, because drug dealers, and if they had gave the school some emergency alarm system,
right,
for when the doors open, then he wouldn't have put chains on. But because they don't want to give the school any money to get that,
right,
that was the only altercation he had.
Right, and they need it more than some of the other schools needed it. Right. So if they had alarms on the doors, then they wouldn't need to chain the doors because they could quickly find out who opened the door. They can go to that door and squash it right there. So what you call it? What else you got?
Also, I love how Clark didn't really address the second drug dealer because he already knew that he was dealing drugs. He just never addressed it because he was like, he's doing good even though he's still doing drugs.
Right.
I won't address it. I won't get on his case. But he already seen that, he's giving up because he doesn't think that he can't continue on.
Right. You're talking about the kid with the long hair.
Yeah, because he felt like he couldn't keep doing what he was doing.
Right.
And he's like, if you go out there, you're gonna be dead in a year.
Right. He was trying to. I guess that was kind of showing that he couldn't save everybody as much as he could, as much as he wanted to. Couldn't save all the students. Some students are still going to fall through the cracks, and I think that's what that was depicting. So yeah, naturally, I like all of the same things that you like, and basically the whole movie was very impactful. This is the only movie that my grandmother had taken us to. She wasn't really the type to go to movies, but for whatever reason, this movie had called her. I get maybe because it was about high school, and this movie came out.
No, that would make sense.
Yeah, this movie came out when I was in my last year of high school, and it was like,
I guess I want to say it's a motivation push to make sure you pass through.
I mean, but I was passing anyway. I didn't. It's like
again, I guess it's for the other two then.
When it's like, I saw that, I was like, man, this school is wild. And it was nice the way he had cleaned up all the graffiti.
Yeah, he was like, you're the new custodian. I want you to clean up all the graffiti by tomorrow morning.
Right. Get started. Obviously, he can't do all of that by himself.
He was like, get some students too to help you out.
The students to help him out. So also, there was like in a lot of meetings, he's like screaming in the teachers' faces. It's like, you know what? That's not necessary. You ain't got to be screaming in their faces. They're full on adults. And then so a lot of his I guess he wanted to impact the teachers.
The teachers as
right,
well.
Right. So another thing he did was like he had that big assembly with the teachers, and he had them split up into groups. He had one group.
I think he had three of them talking about states 4 steps forward and then turn around.
Right.
And then talking about this is the 33% that passed.
Right.
You guys right here, you're the rest that basically caused the students to fail. You need to help these students.
Well, I don't think he's saying that they specifically caused the students.
Yeah, I know, but
But it's kind of messed up that he was only talking to them.
So I would say he was probably talking to everyone, but it's just that the way the camera was basically
right. It kind of looks like he was talking to them. But basically, he was showing that it was a group of like 70% of the teachers separated off from 30%. So 70% represented the students that were failing this state standard test.
Yeah, it was a pre-test,
right?
So they can see what needs to be fixed.
Right. So he was saying y'all need to work harder. And
find a way to have them come into school on Saturdays.
Right.
Stay after school. Don't just be like, all right, see you later, and then leave school.
Right. But see, it's more like that when he's talking about you and it's being accusatory, that is not necessarily a good leadership tactic. You want to include yourself as a leader. You want to include yourself. But to his credit, he came up with strategies to try to improve the students.
Yeah, to improve the teachers, improve the students.
Starting a student or a peer, tutoring program, so the students could try to tutor other students, and then having them come in on Saturdays. Or how do you come in on Saturdays?
Yeah.
We'll go out to the parents,
talk to the parents. And if the parents aren't the ones that ain't being able to read them, we'll invite them too. Like,
right. If the parents can't read, we'll tutor them too, right? So came out with different strategies to help improve the students' education, and specifically to try to pass this test so that the state doesn't take over the school and the state do whatever the state wants to do.
In his head, he's like, this is what I'm doing is working. But he as the movie goes along, he noticed that it's also working against him too.
Right.
Because as his vice principal reminded him, you have teachers who are also here, who are adults, who are teaching these kids. They want to teach these kids.
Right.
And all you're thinking about is that you're the only one doing it. No, there's other people here.
Right.
And then he realized, like, okay, right. I need to change that.
Right. He's very egotistical. And so he doesn't realize that there are other people involved, or he doesn't believe that anybody cares as much as he does. So that's something that he has to work on himself. At least in the movie, he kind of recognizes it. So I'm trying to think of some of my other favorite parts, but I am definitely running out of gas. My memory is already failing. That the movie is already fading from memory because it's
okay. What about this one? When he catch Sam in the hallway. He's like, Sam, where you going? Tell him, oh, I was just going to lunch and all. Like,
right. That was a cool moment. Yeah.
And then, he goes off. I'm like, Sam, come back here. I'm like, all right, let's go in the boys' bathroom and see what you got in here. He's like, oh, you don't want to go in. There's a bunch of snakes. Goes in. They're all talking. They're like, they have to go pretend, they're doing something.
Right. They all start pretending they're washing their hands. And
he's like, all right, sing the school song. And they're like, do we really have things? Like, come on, fellas. He's like, okay. And they start singing it. And he's like, Like, stop. Who taught you the song? And it's basically the assistant to the course teacher.
She's the
main teacher. Goes in, it's like, did you teach these kids this song? He was like, yes. Well, tell me, the kids thought it was, it's old and dreadful, so, we amped it up. He was like, I want everyone to learn this song in English and Spanish. Walks away. Tell me, yeah, I give you a bow, basically saying, good job. I was like, yeah, the way he's doing it is he's being harsh, but he also goes into a kind mode, too.
Right. He did like an April Fool's joke on her, basically. So he wanted to come in all hard, making her think that she was in trouble, but then letting her know that he was rewarding her because he decided that her version of the song was better. So leading to the music in this movie, was nice. It was like a throwback. So the movie title is Lean On Me. It's based on a song, Lean On Me. I forgot who sang it. I should have looked that up. But Lean On Me didn't have a whole lot. The song didn't have a whole lot to do with the school, but it kind of fit in nicely anyway.
It does.
And they sing that. That was one of the songs that they had sang in the auditorium, and it's also in part of the score. They used, like, when they were taking the test.
Yeah,
that was one of the songs that they played. But those are the only two songs I remember. I know there was a couple more, but that one and Stand By.
Lean On Me.
Lean On Me and Welcome to the Jungle. Those are the only two that I actually remember. There was give me some more parts. I'm running out.
When a Hispanic girl come up telling Mr. Clark, all these black kids got something. What about us? We don't got anything.
Right.
And he's like, you know what? You got a good mouth. Why don't you become a lawyer? And that comes right back to when all the kids come all the way down to the council meeting. And she just go talking about what the law states, about protecting us.
Right.
And he's like, well, that's what he was doing, protecting us from the people who coming in with the drugs.
Right.
Since you guys don't want to give us any other, alarm system for the doors.
Right. Well, she didn't say that part.
Yeah, that part, but still.
Right. So that was funny. He's and the other thing that kind of struck me is that he knew a lot of the students. Like, he just wasn't going around screaming at people.
Screaming. Like, he made a connection with some of the students in the school.
Right. He had learned as many of the students as he could, and even remember a student that he taught when he was principal of a school, and she was in elementary school. Right. So yeah, it was a touching movie. It's emotional and dramatic. I got emotional watching that movie.
A good one was in the gym when one of the students was mocking him, and as a student called one of the girls over, and she moves away, he comes in. He's like, "Come over here. Tell me, what's he doing?
Is he doing me?
Is he doing me? Nah, he ain't got the juice." And I was like, "Wow." He's like, see me in my office playing with you. I'm like, "Wow."
Right. He was like, "Gotcha." So the other thing was that and then he started jumping rope.
Yeah, jumping rope. And he's like, "Sam, come in and jump rope too." And Sam is doing his best not to stop. And in the moment Clark Lee, he stopped, he just drops to the floor.
He just drops to the
floor. He was like, "Oh, thank God he left."
Yeah, Sam was not in as physically good condition as the principal. So yeah, that was an exciting movie. Well, exciting is not the right word. Dramatic. It's a very dramatic and emotional movie. So yeah, this is something that everyone needs to check out. Y'all need to look at this movie. This was awesome. So let's go on and move to the trivia portion of the program. So you did know this was based on a true life story, right? So obviously with true life stories, some things are embellished and some things are
some things are
some things are left out.
Yeah, some things are like in there, some things are left out, some things are exaggerated.
Right, some things are exaggerated. So we don't know like the
true story.
Right. But I can appreciate that some of this stuff was true because some of the stuff was, the news was there covering stuff. So like with him locking out the students, you saw the cameras and reporters.
Yep, I'm surprised they didn't use any clips of basically him saying I'm Batman.
Right. That would have been the trip. So so we know at least portions of it were true because there are other records of it. But the real Joe Clark passed away on December 29th, 2020. So that just happened. Wow, that's crazy.
Real-life students and teachers from Eastside High appeared as extras in this film.
The real-life Joe Clark resigned as principal of Eastside High School shortly after the film was released. Around the time the film debuted, he was suspended from the school by the school board for 1 week after scheduling an assembly in which dancers stripped down to their G-strings. Clark said he hadn't known about it in advance. Ironically, the man who suspended him was Dr. Frank Napier. After Clark left Eastside, he became an author and motivational speaker. In 1995, he was hired to run a juvenile detention center in Newark, New Jersey, a position he held until he resigned in 2002. During his time there, he once again came under fire for his controversial methods. And the funny thing is that I remember when I saw that on the news where they showed some of the assembly, and because somebody there had a camera, because this is before cell phones, and the women were stripping down to their G-strings. Like, how did that get authorized?
Right.
Under his watch. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. And he did not survive that controversy.
Morgan Freeman spent time with the real life Joe Clark.
It's supposed to be Joe.
Joe Clark to capture his mannerisms and sayings. I mean, you know what? That worked.
Right. He wants to be the real Joe Clark. In the auditorium scene, when Morgan Freeman's character expels the students on stage, a young Michael Imperioli is visible behind him. Taye Diggs can be seen sitting in the audience in a blue shirt. And it's funny because I was looking for these cats and I did not see him. But Imperioli is famous for being a mobster in types. He's playing a mobster type of character in Goodfellas or The Sopranos. And Taye Diggs, he's been in Equilibrium in Chicago and a bunch of other TV shows and movies.
Although Regina Taylor plays the mother of Karen Molina, White, in real life she's only 5 years older.
Do you know who those two characters are?
I can say that it was the mother who didn't have a job and didn't want her daughter to basically make the same mistakes as her.
Right. And they did look pretty young, but Karen looks like a baby. Karen Molina White, she looks like a baby. It's like, did she even belong in high school? That's how young she looks. But and I've seen her in other shows, but I can't remember. I've probably seen her on TV. But she was they're only 5 years apart. So Regina Taylor's only 5 years. Who played the mother was only 5 years older. So that's remarkable. According to March 3rd, 1989, LA Times article, high school principal Joe Clark's life story rights were I kind of wrote this awkward. I copied it awkward from IMDb. Remember, kids, this information was provided by IMDb. High school principal Joe Clark's life story rights were optioned by Universal Pictures in 1984, but the project was stalled. In 1986, Warner Brothers and producer Norman Twain took over the rights, paying Clark. There we go with language again. Playing Clark $15,000 and a small percentage of the film's gross. Sidney Poitier was Warner Brothers' first choice for the role of Joe Clark, but the actor turned it down because he did not agree with Clark's politics. Bill Cosby was approached next, but filmmakers determined that the performance energy was too low. So Eddie Murphy was considered. However, Murphy's contract with Paramount Pictures barred him from appearing in a Warner Brothers production. Danny Glover was also named as a contender, but the actor was expected to star in the upcoming Warner Brothers Lethal Weapon sequel. Morgan Freeman, who had recently won an Obie Award for his off-Broadway performance in Driving Miss Daisy, was cast after the others were ruled out, although producer Twain insisted that Freeman was always his first choice. I could have broke that up into a couple of sections.
Yeah, you could have. Also, I'm pretty sure you meant paying, not playing Clark. You meant to say paying Clark $15,000.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said playing.
Okay, so they paid Clark
$15,000. Half the cast, including Morgan Freeman, are left-handed.
I thought that was fascinating. One of several films named after its famous titular song played during the movie's end credits, in which the title has no direct correlation with the film's actual plot. This trend began in the mid-'80s with Stand By Me, 1986. Other titles included Stand and Deliver, 1988, Pretty Woman, 1990, and My Girl, 1991.
In one of the scenes, while holding a baseball bat, Morgan Freeman says, "They used to call me Crazy Joe. Well, now they can call me Batman." Freeman would go on to play the character of Lucius Fox, ally to Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Right. I thought that was clever. Several homages to PBS children's programming are referenced in the film. When Clark was seen as a history teacher in the 1967 scene, he sported an afro similar to the character Easy Reader on the Electric Company in 1971, where Freeman was part of the cast. When he arrives at Eastside on the first day of the job, he wears a business suit similar to the one he had during the Electric Company's opening credits. Also, Lynn Thigpen would later join the cast of the PBS series Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego in 1991 as the chief. Now I remember. I remember writing this. She was in that show. I was like, yeah, she was in that show. So, yeah, that was some fascinating information. Oh my goodness, hold on a second. I'm messing up my document. Hold on a second. Hold on. I don't want to mess up all this typing in there. I actually typed it instead of doing a cut and paste. So you don't want to mess that up. Where's my editing tool? There we go. Yeah, let's go. That's much better. I fixed it. Let's talk about what the critics think. The critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 69% score, and the audience gave it 85 because the audience knows what it likes. And Metacritic score was 58 because I don't know what's going on with Metacritic.
All right, so Jane Gelbrath.
That's good enough for me.
From Variety.
That was a regular word. You could have got that right. That was a regular word.
Okay. Alvidson, enthusiastic. Direction gives Lean on Me a heartwarming, feel-good tone that is accessible beyond envious of his subject.
I think it's environs.
Environs? Okay. Yeah. Of his subject. Yeah, that works.
I'll go with that one. That sounds pretty good. We go to our boy Roger Ebert of Chicago Sun-Times. Roger Ebert. Our adversary. All right. It's not your adversary. It's my personal.
Yeah, your adversary, because you're the only one.
Because he has issues. He wrote, Lean on Me is not a documentary about real Joe Clark. It is a fiction film about a character who is so troubled, obsessed, and angry that the film is never able to stay quite what it thinks of him. After the movie, neither are we. See, this dude is like, what is he doing in the movie theater? Is he asleep? Is he paying attention? This movie didn't grab you emotionally.
Also, the film legit says it is based on a true story, true events that happened. So that means if you looked it up, if you went ahead,
it's also a story. It's not a documentary. No, it's not supposed.
They're not saying a documentary.
If it was a documentary, then they would use actual footage of the actual man with the actual students in the actual school. This is none of that. This is a Hollywood film, and yes, some of it is fictional, but it's not. All right, we're gonna move on.
Nick Davis from Nick Flick Picks. Freeman, as usual, infuses a standing issue plot with extraordinary emotional conviction.
You almost got that right, without making any mistakes. Which word did you mess up?
Extraordinary?
No, you got that one.
Okay.
Right. I think it was standard issue plot. That's what you...
Oh, well.
he infuses the standard issue plot with extraordinary emotional conviction. I think that basically means that he's a great actor. It's like the story wasn't a particularly great story to this reviewer, but Morgan Freeman really stands out in this movie. And I don't know. Yeah, the story probably would have collapsed if Morgan Freeman wasn't playing his role the way he played it. I mean, he was very exciting and energetic. So they knew what they were doing. Well, the director knew all along that Morgan Freeman was to do for this for this movie. Eugene Novikov, film blather. He wrote, watchable but formulaic, tough love teacher movie made perhaps before Morgan Freeman could get himself better roles, which, a movie is not just what's written down. It's not just the story.
It's also the performance.
Yeah,
too.
it's also the performance. It's also the movie. It's also the editing. It's the total package. So to say that, if you take out one element, then the movie wouldn't do as well. That's technically correct. You can definitely hire the wrong actor for a movie, but
and the movie might come out good even with that wrong actor, or
right.
it might flop.
Right.
It just depends.
If the story is strong enough, then you could miscast somebody, and the movie won't come out as great. But I wouldn't say that this is. I don't feel like it's formulaic, or at least not too formulaic. But to be fair, there were a lot of movies like this that came out, the type of basic training movie that came out during this time period. So, okay, I'll grant him he has a point there. I'm not, no sense in jumping down his throat. He's not that wrong. So what was your overall impression of this movie?
It was a very good movie.
And you know what? I knew you'd like it. You're not that far from high school. It was, let me think, not yet 10 years ago when you graduated. So I felt that you would have a connection to what was going on here. You haven't forgotten high school yet. You probably still got some friends from high school that you still talk to or play games with.
Yeah, it's only 2 of them.
Oh, really? Only 2?
Yeah.
Well, you got a couple. But anyways, because I knew you're still young, you still have a connection to high school, I figured that it's still somewhat relevant to what you're experiencing right now in this stage of your life. I knew you'd like it. I knew you'd like it because I liked it. It is very impactful. So you got any final thoughts?
Nope.
Well, man, I just want to say this is a great movie. This is a movie I happen to own, so I'm not exactly sure where anybody could, would be able to watch it.
I mean, look it on Amazon. They might have a DVD of it.
Yeah, Amazon definitely has it. Amazon has everything.
Almost everything.
If you wanted to buy lice, I'm sure you can buy lice from Amazon. So, next episode, we're going to talk about Broken Arrow. That's going to be an awesome movie. We're gonna hit some action and suspense, and we're gonna hit it hard with that movie. And once again, if you like the show, please share it with somebody. Share it with somebody. Find somebody that you love who shares common interests with you, and just say, "Hey, I heard this great podcast. It's the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe. I need you to check it out." And then give it a rating on whatever your favorite podcast app is. And, hit us up. You got any comments, suggestions? You got any questions? And we got an email address, or you can go to a website, hit that suggestion box at the bottom of the first page of the website. We're here for you. We're here for you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe, hug your loved ones, and be outstanding. Wait. Cut the music. Actually, the next movie will be The Long Kiss Goodnight. So, not Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow is coming 2 weeks from now. The next movie will be The Long Kiss Goodnight. All right. Now we're done.